tough loss tonight. I mean, last minute of the game, 2 times it looked like Toronto was in the crease as a defender. That's a new rule in the league. What did they tell you guys why they didn't make a call there?
Oh man, it's tough to be a ref in this league. So I would hate to be in their shoes. We definitely got on them. For the first one, I think it was our first 6-on-5 when Team Back caught it, shot it, and then Smitty got the rebound, and I think both those shots they had a guy in the crease. Which I get it. It's tough to see in a bang play, but we got on them, which I probably should do a better job at not getting on them. But the next play they did the exact same thing right after we kind of talked to the refs about that. So for them to miss 2 blatant calls like that, and I think the rule is it's a penalty shot under 2 minutes. So it could be a big momentum swing. But like I said, I don't blame the refs for the loss, and I wouldn't want to be a ref because it's a very tough job to see everything on the field. But yeah, it was just a tough ending. But we put ourselves in that position to kind of rely on that call. So we got to do a better job of building momentum and being able to close out games when we have the lead.
In the middle of the third quarter, Nick Rose goes down with an injury. Holichuk comes in, the backup, and you guys really just couldn't find the back of the net once he got it. I think you guys scored only once on him. How tough was that when you're facing a backup and you feel like you might have a little bit momentum and you just can't get it rolling?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they have a great defense. Rosie's obviously very, very good. He's very good. So their offense is good. It's a great team we went against, and they showed it tonight. When you see a backup goalie come in the game, makes it a little bit more difficult, I guess to say, because you're scouting right their starting goalie for going into the game. It's tough to get a kind of read on his tendencies. We were kind of trying to just go off instinct and then just shoot to where we saw net. But credit him, he played great in there, and their defense really tightened up in the second half, and made it really difficult for us offensively. So I'm thankful we have our defense because we have a very good defense and goaltending, and they kept us in the game that whole game. So I think that's more on us up front, and I think we realize that, and we'll be better.
And what did you guys see out there? Because it seemed like, as you mentioned, that Toronto was very physical on defense, but a physical, disciplined defense where it didn't seem like you guys could get a lot of off-ball openings.
Yeah, they were pressing out, physical. They're on your hands. They're an athletic defense. I think one thing to note about them is how good they are in transition. So you kind of got to think about that throughout the game. Whether you take a shot, a guy's kind of leaking out behind you, so it makes you think twice a little bit. But whenever you play Toronto, they have a big physical defense who puts a beating on you, and you got to be prepared for that. I think they did a really good job in the second half of getting in the lanes. They kind of gave us some blocked a lot of shots, and they gave us some angles that we didn't really want to take. Made it difficult for us. So we just got to be able to adjust and adapt to how any defense is playing us, and like I said, that's on us offensively.
6 games in, 4-2. How would you describe the first 6 games?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positives to take from it. I think we've played well for the majority of the games. I would say this was far from our best this game. So obviously this is the most recent. So obviously it's disappointing how today went, but I think we put ourselves in a position a third of the way in the season to get to our first goal, which is getting to playoffs. So we got to keep stacking and building and learning from all those lessons that we've learned in these past games. And I think that's what it is, just using those as building blocks. And I think this is going to be a big one for us. I think there's going to be a lot to see on tape, a lot to adjust on, and but at the end of the day, I think we're a group that really loves being around each other and feeds off each other. So we don't typically dwell on all the negatives. We obviously want to learn from them, but we focus on the positives and how we can build off each other.
During the week, Ryan Lansbury agreed to a 4-year contract extension. Yourself, Ryan Smith, and Ryan Lansbury are going to be here until at least 2030. How does it feel to have just those teammates around you for a long time?
It's awesome. I think Lance is a phenomenal player. Smitty, you mentioned too, a phenomenal player. But speaking with Lance, which just signed that deal, is really exciting to see. knew they were in the works, and you know was hoping it was going to get done. He's a phenomenal player, draws a lot of attention from defenses, and you know I think he meshes really well with you know the way we play offense, and is a big part of it. So. You know, it's exciting to see. I think it just shows a testament to the culture that you know Dan Carey and the coaching staff have built here. It's a you know a team where we think we could be successful, right? You don't see guys signing those type of deals if you know if you're in you know a rebuild or whatnot. So we think our times now we could be successful for years here to come. But it just speaks to the culture here. Everyone wants to be here. You know, we see Zed comes here in the off season, right? We're getting some of those big time free agents or trades, but it's a destination. I think people are. You know, seeing how much fun we have here, and you know how dangerous we could be. So it's awesome to see him lock in for you know 4 years, and you know I think it's gonna be a lot of fun these next couple of years.
So,